Hello, I'm Bryn Blaze with the Career Conversations, and today I'm interviewing.
I'm John Hatfield. I'm the president of Wildlife Resolutions.
Describe to me in like 3 to 5 words on who you were as a high school student.
Yes, I can. So I graduated high school in 2002. So it took me a minute to really dive back into what that would be.
Yeah.
And so I really thought about this. So I would say if I were going to describe myself in 5 words, it would be dependable, observant, thoughtful, hardworking, and determined.
Okay.
I was going to add dyslexic.
Oh, okay.
Because I do struggle with dyslexia. And,
Okay.
and a lot of people silently struggle with dyslexia. And so I think it's important to hear that there are people that are successful
Yeah.
in life that have that. So.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I have a couple friends who are, and they feel ashamed for having that, but really.
Yeah. Just means you work harder and
Exactly.
you figure it out.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is awesome. Can you share your journey from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah. So right after high school, I went to college at SUNY Copelskill.
Okay.
I studied fisheries and wildlife and then transitioned into wildlife management. After college, I got a job with USDA Wildlife Services.
Okay.
And so that's a larger national company organization that works with human wildlife conflicts and animal disease control. And so I started really green right out of college doing the field work, and I kind of grew as fast as I could, and I hit this big plateau.
Okay.
And so it was a great opportunity to really understand what wildlife management was in the aspect of how we manage wildlife based on human perspectives.
Okay.
So if geese in a park,
Yeah.
It's not normally a problem if they're in just a yard, but when there's people trying to eat food and there's disease issues and risks. So we have to manage geese, but people enjoy seeing them. So what's that healthy number?
I see.
And so it really gave me a really good understanding of what that entails. But I saw a long plateau. And at the time I was helping teach vet students with USDA, field euthanasia, like how to deal with animals that are in the field. They don't have the right tools or equipment. Like what do you have to do? How do you prepare? And a job posting came up. So I applied for a job, worked in the diagnostic lab. So again, along that wildlife disease side, now I'm in the lab setting seeing where these tissue samples are going, how they're collecting the tissue samples, how they're processing them, how they're actually doing the analysis to figure out what the true diagnosis is.
Gotcha.
Which again really strengthened my core understanding of what really happens. So at that same time, I asked about helping them with animal damage issues that they were having themselves.
Gotcha.
So I have a nuisance wildlife license, and I agreed to help on a part-time basis, and it became enough of a need that they asked me to pick which avenue, and so I went out on my own and started a wildlife management business that mostly helped with residential and Cornell University navigating wildlife on their campus and how they help, because people enjoy seeing them. They just don't want them in their bedrooms or keeping them up at night. So so that's been kind of my career track.
Okay.
And it's really helped me out.
That's awesome. Did you always want to be in wildlife management?
So I've always known that I enjoyed being in the outdoors.
Okay.
My family will give you kind of pressures of I think you'd be great at this.
Yep.
They always pushed me toward the outdoors environmental type field, but it was forestry more that they thought, oh, you'd be really good at forestry. I enjoy hunting and fishing and trapping, and so I wanted to go that route. In hindsight, I think they might have been right. That forestry might have been the right approach, but I don't regret going to college for wildlife management. In my experiences, I've had a fantastic career and met some really incredible people. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh. So you wouldn't trade it?
I wouldn't trade it. I think if I were to go back to school, I think forestry.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the later questions is like, what are other things you can do with that field?
Yeah.
And habitat modification is something that we do because we understand animals.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you added a forestry element to it, you
Yeah.
could broaden that to a bigger, larger scale type management type practice where
Yeah.
if you're really into songbirds, it's like, okay, well, what are they like and how do we manage the existing property to better suit that population of what you're after?
That's really interesting, actually. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so I think a forestry certainly has a place,
Yeah.
you know, in this particular line of work.
Would you see yourself expanding? Possibly with like a business partner collaboration?
Into forestry?
Yeah.
No, I have a colleague that I went to college with, actually worked with you at USDA. His background was in forestry.
Gotcha.
And then he got a minor in wildlife.
Okay.
He runs a wildlife business just like I have, but does more of the habitat modification.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to see, and I can go out and get my little fill of what I need. But
Yeah.
as far as financially, there's so many companies doing tree work and doing forestry management
Yeah.
in this area because of environmental science and forestry at Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't see the benefit financially for a business, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your colleague having a major and minor in
Yeah.
the specific career field. Would you recommend? So some of our listeners maybe don't want to go into college.
Yeah.
Would you recommend going into a college degree for the specific area?
So truthfully, it's not needed.
Okay.
It has helped me grow faster
Mm-hmm.
than some of my other colleagues
Yeah.
because of the contacts that I've made through college and just the skill set that I got through other job platforms. But
Yeah.
this particular like animal damage control, it's a license through the state.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $50 license, and then there are several platforms that have multiple other business owners that are willing to help teach you and train you.
Yeah.
That like professional groups, and so I think if you wanted to go more into like writing journals and doing research,
Okay.
I think the education is very valuable.
Okay.
I think if you're just going to do the animal damage control aspect, I think you could do it without a degree.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could get by without one,
Yeah.
in theory. Okay.
Yeah, most of my colleagues that have a degree in wildlife don't like and that are in this field
Mm-hmm.
are doing extra projects for like higher education facilities
Yeah.
or places like that because they're passionate about the research, but they're
Yes.
just not in it completely.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay. What do your daily tasks look like?
My daily task is it's kind of all over the map. So
Okay.
there's a lot of administrative tasks as the owner of a company
Mm-hmm.
where I'm meeting with supervisors in the morning to make sure the staff has enough work in what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's meeting with finance people to do we have outstanding invoices that we need to run to collections, or do we have to go to file papers to get them to try to get payment?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's conflicts with clients that we have to resolve, and so we have an escalation scheme, and if it escalates to my point, then now I have to
Gotcha.
meet with clients and try to figure out where the conflict might be. And
I see.
yeah,
Okay. So, you are the business owner?
I am the business owner.
Okay. How does that differ than your employees? Like, okay, I'm gonna restate that question.
Yeah.
Okay. We've had a couple business owners come in. Did you start with like an LLC? How did you get your start?
So I'm fortunate where a lot of people don't have this resource. My uncle was a CPA,
Okay.
and a very well known, very good CPA, and so before I started the business, when I was starting getting asked by people
Mhm.
to help them, I didn't want to be that under the radar weekend warrior kind of a company that just, I wanted to be by the book.
Yeah.
So I asked, what should I do? And so we really evaluated what your liabilities are. And so
Gotcha.
because we're working on homes and houses, and there's a lot more risk in our line of work than as a consultant, where you're just giving information.
Yeah.
The S corp, so we're incorporated instead of being an LLC, and so that was advice from an accountant,
Gotcha.
which has paid off immensely. You know, because the structure protects the business and protects you as the owner.
Yeah.
But yet still gives insurance to your clients that you're not going to just damage stuff and walk away. So
Yeah.
we are fully insured. And
That's awesome.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I should have brought my glasses. Okay. So within wildlife management,
Yep.
what are the different career paths that people can take?
So the animal damage control is the one that I took. Went down. There's a lot of research on like animal behavior and on population dynamics, population studies. So even in the animal damage side, there's ones that are causing damage, and then there's just manageable populations that you have to do. And so like DEC, am I allowed to say DEC?
I think so. I think that's fine.
So like the state deer biologist needs to know how many deer are in New York State and what their goal population is before they start having automotive collisions. And
yeah.
so there's several positions where you're doing exactly that. Like, hey, we've noticed rough grouse numbers are down. Why is that? And so they're looking at habitat loss, and they're looking at and so there's a lot of studies and research programs that are happening with higher education facilities that allow you to have a better understanding what's really happening. Usually it's a bigger geographic area, so it's like New York State.
Yeah.
It might be the Adirondack Park.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's but that's a whole another career path. There's a big one that I've seen been coming lately is invasive species.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like a direct wildlife management, but if an invasive species is out competing a food source, you'll see a decline in certain like species of animals.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough food to support them.
That's
and
really
so
interesting.
there's a lot of grant work. There's a lot of research on invasive species.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you find rewarding about your job and later challenging?
So truthfully, the people as a general rule, like the reason I got into this line of work is I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
That being said, it's also can be challenging.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different view and outtake, and you really learn that strong communication still could be improved upon.
Yeah, of course.
And so I would say the most rewarding is you help somebody out and they genuinely care. They're very appreciative, and they send you, we just got a really nice letter from a client that's elderly, and they took the time out to be like, oh, thank you so much. We met with your staff. They were fantastic. They treated us really well. Those make it worth all of the stresses and heartaches and parts of life. When you have moments like that, it's worth it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ron, what are some personal qualities that one might have to be successful in this career field?
I mean, communication, I think in any department, anywhere you go in life, being able to communicate is a huge feather in your cap. If you struggle getting the message across, then it's really hard to sell or to do anything. So I think communication's a really big one.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
How do you stay safe and prepared for when you're in environments that may not be equipped for people to be doing their jobs in?
So in our line of work, one of the early lessons that I sadly found is we most of the animals come through either really low at the basement in the foundation, or they come up at the top of the building.
Yeah.
And so access to those buildings are very dangerous and very unsafe, not to mention any weather or inclement weather type stuff.
Yeah.
So I had a small mishap where I did slip and fall off a small roof, didn't get hurt, thankfully.
That's good.
But it was enough of a like, wow, I am not prepared for this.
Yeah.
And so I take the next step where I think we go above and beyond. We actually focus, our specialty is those difficult to reach, hard areas, remote areas, because we've jumped right into all the training. So we're rope certified.
Yeah.
All of our staff's rope certified. We take annual safety trainings. We do CPR trainings. We try to be prepared so that
Yeah.
anytime there's an outlier, we've had a few equipment failures. And so we inspect damaged equipment and figure out what went wrong. Is it our fault, or was it a manufacturing issue?
Yeah.
And then just try to create a safety plan based on, thankfully, nothing major, but they've all been where a ladder slipped, and it was because something was broken on it.
Gotcha.
So it's more strict inspection regiments and stuff like that.
Okay. And you've incorporated this into your small business,
Yes.
you're saying?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. What's the most surprising thing that you've learned or experienced when in your position?
I usually get asked what's the most surprising wildlife thing, and you become numb to the wildlife stuff because you see it every day.
Yeah.
And so it's really the people is that you think you've seen it all, and then something changes and you're dealt with a new unique situation, which is fascinating. And I think that's honestly what keeps it fresh for a lot of our employees and for myself, is that no one person is the same, and that's fantastic. So it's really a joy to come in. It's like, yes, it's a snake, or yes, it's a raccoon, and we have a pretty good idea what the animals are going to do, but every house is different, every person is different, how they handle the stress of the situation. And so that's to me that's the hardest prediction.
Gotcha.
Of who and what we're getting into.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you recommend to a student who would like to come into this career field?
I would say if I were talking to any student, regardless whether it was this field or not, have some understanding of business. Whether you work for yourself or work for somebody else, it's good to understand the ins and outs and what it actually takes to be a business owner or to work for a business. So as an employer, I appreciate somebody that already understands that it costs money to turn a key on a truck.
Yes.
And to go out into the field. I don't expect them to know the ins and outs of every aspect of the business, but it certainly helps. And so if I were, and I think that's where my advantage came from through high school, is I worked for some local companies that really were very small companies, and there were no secrets in the company.
Yeah.
So if you had questions wow, I worked on a tree farm. So it was oh, well, how much does it cost to put a tree in? They're oh, well, in the beginning it's this, but then you have all this other expenses, and it seemed like just general conversation, but it sticks in your head. You don't forget that. And then when it comes time for you to make that, how much do I sell this tree for, or whatever that product is?
Yeah.
I've had several conversations with small business owners that have kind of prepped me to go that way. And so as a high schooler, get as much experience as you can.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that I would say is, you don't know if you like a job until you've done it.
Yeah.
Go out and give it at least 3 months.
Yeah. At least.
And that would
do
be
the
my
summer
recommendation.
before college,
Summer work is a fantastic way to realize
Yeah.
that man, this might not be my
Yeah.
cup of tea, or this is fantastic. I actually love doing this. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My last question to you is, do you have any, not necessarily academic resources that you use to help your daily work? These could be like audiobooks, podcasts. Those are like the same thing, but
Yeah, no, I don't have a lot of time to find the podcast. So, like, finding the right podcast for my particular line of work is challenging. And so what I ended up doing was I go to professional meetings and then I seek out what I consider would be the top 10% of the businesses that are at that professional group.
Yeah.
And then create a separate group where we have a resource to network and connect and troubleshoot or just vent on, like, oh my God, this raccoon job, whatever it was. Like, I'm just it is exhausting me, and I'm at my wit's end, and there's 3 or 4 other businesses that are like, oh yeah, we've been down that road.
Yeah.
And so it's just that networking, which goes back to that whole high school thing of, like, get as much experience as you can under you. And then the advantage to college, in my opinion, is not the piece of paper you leave with.
Yeah.
It's the connections you make throughout. Because there are people that are in the same field as you or myself that go out into other parts. And so it's like, man, I'm running into this problem. I'm going to call Billy Bob that's working for X company.
Yeah.
And they may have, and they're like, oh yeah, no, we do that every single day. And so it's that networking that I wouldn't be able to figure that out as fast if I didn't have that contact.
Exactly. Okay. Awesome. That is all I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
is there
I appreciate
anything
the
else?
opportunity.
Of course.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to anyone listening?
No, I guess that I'm a local company, and if there's any students or that are interested in seeing some side of the environmental field, feel free to reach out. I think there's some paperwork that has to be done for waivers, but I'm happy to answer your question, happy to take you for a ride along or just see what's going on.
Would you offer summer internships to those who might be interested?
That's tough because the state requires you have to be 18.
I see.
So we have, currently there's 2 students in Tompkins County that have reached out interested that are under 18. And they can come to our facility and, like, clean and it's not the same
job.
Yeah,
I got you. Okay.
So I would love to, but I don't want you to get discouraged.
Yes.
But I absolutely can go. They can do a ride along. They can see
That's
what's
awesome.
happening and talk to other employees and
That's
stuff,
perfect. So. Awesome. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This will conclude this episode of the Career Conversations podcast.